myself for you before I initiate talking about the course itself. I am Dr. Mahmoud Al-Salman, Associated Professor in Linguistics, and I hope that throughout the course we can do what we have to. That is to say, the title of the course can talk about itself, General English Language. The course will be about English in general, about grammar, about some skills in writing and some skills in reading. So we're talking about basics of English. We are not talking about something which might seem or appear to be difficult. We are going just to talk about principles in English language, whether with regard to syntax, whether with regard to phonetics, whether with regard to writing and reading as well. The title of the course, as you see, General English Language. And as an introduction, why should students learn English? In general, as you know, English has become the most important language on earth. This is a fact that we have to confess. We couldn't deny. In other words, English now is called lingua franca. Lingua franca might be a term that you might not know, but lingua franca means a language that could be used by different people who speak different languages in order to communicate. In other words, if some people meet, an Arab, for example, a German, a French, and a person from, let me say, another country, in order to communicate, they might not speak Arabic, they might not speak French, they might not speak Italian, they might not even speak German. Probably they are going to speak English. Why? Because to a great extent it is very possible that the French can speak English, the German can speak English, the Arab can speak English, as well as a person from another country. So English is called lingua franca, means the language that is so important to the degree that it is the language used by people from different countries who speak different languages. As a matter of fact, we learn English because it is the first international language in the world. The thing that I have just stated out. Live communication. If you travel to any country, you will find yourself speaking English. If you go to Turkey, if you go to Indonesia, if you go, let me say, to Africa, you will find English the language used in order to communicate with those who do not speak your language. Academic studies and higher education, frankly speaking, most of the studies in different fields, say physics, mathematics, literature, management, whatever, indeed the books are written in English. So you have to know English in order to study at universities. With regard to higher education, you have also to be able to speak English, because in the master programs, in the PhD programs, English indeed is a must. And even we ourselves, once we write research or a research in a journal, we find ourselves forced to write an abstract in English. I'm not talking about myself, because for me, I have to write in English because I'm a specialist in English language. But if somebody is specialist in education and he writes something in Arabic, at the end he is asked or she is asked to write an abstract in English language as well, even if the research itself is written in the Arabic language. Elements of the lecture: course content, course description, course objectives, the objectives that we have to achieve, teaching methods, grading and evaluation, references, and contact. Contact, in other words, the way through which you can contact with me. Of course, I have office hours. You have my email. You can ask me about any question you need. Course content, you can have a look at the slides, and you will find out that we're going to talk about, for example, verbs to be, is, are, was, and were, or the pronouns I, we, they, you, and so on and so forth, their tenses, whether we are going to talk about the past tense, whether we are going to talk about the present or the future, and if you have a look at the rest, you will find out the things that we are going, inshallah, to cover in the course. It is an important note written in red lines. In case a student cannot find the main textbook, the book used in the lectures, the registered lectures are enough. These lectures that are registered and what I say in the lectures could be considered enough. It is enough for you. You just depend on what I say in the lectures, on what I write in the slides. This is enough. All of my questions, bi'idhnillah, are going to be from what I write in the slides or from what I say in the lectures. So even if you do not have the textbook, don't worry, my lectures and what I say in the lectures indeed is enough for you. Of course, as I said at the beginning of the lecture, this course is considered a beginning level because we just talk about verbs to be, for example, how is to be used, with what pronouns or the are, and so on and so forth. This course is very helpful for the learners, especially distance learning students, to revise the basic grammar of English that is greatly required in their different specializations. In other words, all of you have finished the school or the high school. In other words, we know that you know English, but because you have left the school for a period of time, you might feel that you have forgotten everything. This course, inshallah, will remind you of what you have already known in the schools about English language. In other words, I know that in the school days, you covered everything about verb to be, or verb to have, or the passive and active, the tenses, present, past, future. You might feel that you have forgotten everything. Don't worry, throughout this course, bi'idhnillah, things will be covered and you will find yourself as if you are at the school, because I'm going to start from the very beginning. I will consider you know nothing about English. I will deal with you as if your level is 0. I know that your level is not 0 at English. You are good at English, but I will deal with you from the very beginning as if you know nothing, in order to feel that I've given you, inshallah, everything. And as I told you, the 50 questions that you are going to have in the final, all of them will be from what I say and from the slides, from the recorded lectures. Just read the recorded lectures and this will be enough, bi'idhnillah. And if you have a look at this slide, I have just mentioned the course objectives. Indeed, I have talked about them, I have mentioned them, but I've also already written them to you in order to have them at home and to read them all the time and to know what you are expected to do throughout the course, bi'idhnillah. This is the reference. The main textbook is Basic English Grammar, but as I told you, depend on the slides, on what I write on them and what I say in the lectures. This will be enough, bi'idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, as I told you, I'm Dr. Mahmoud Al-Salman. Office hours, these are the time during which you can call me, bi'idhnillah, or you can send me email, and inshallah I promise you to answer you and to do my best to answer any question you have in mind. At the end, I would like to thank you. Inshallah, it will be a good opportunity to teach you and to add something new to you with regard to English language. Thank you so much.